What's up, guys? So this video is going to be on where we are right now in the election process, as you could say. I think the only way that you can really unify people, I posted about this before, I even did a live on it earlier, it's just you have one side of the country that's feeling one type of way. You know, you have the other side of the country that's obviously feeling another type of way, right? Where do I stand personally? Yeah, I voted for Trump. Like I said before in many videos, I can't defend the guy's actions. I mean, he's not really the most smartest when he talks, but, you know, I voted for him for his policies. And at this point, you know, if he loses, he loses. It's not the end of the world. I mean, you know, you can't put too much trust into one person, you know, one way or the other. It's just, you know, that's not how government as a whole works, right? We still have the Senate, we still have the House, we still have the Supreme Court. There's a lot of things. So first off, all the people that think like right away all this radical stuff is going to come, I don't think it's going to be highly likely. Now, we really are at a state of division. Now, we could sit here and argue all day, you know, did this start a little bit under the Obama administration? Was this all Trump? Was this media? It doesn't matter. You know, sometimes when you look at a problem, it's like, you know, if you got somebody bleeding out, you're not going to, well, I wonder how he got stabbed. It's like, no, like, let's fill the wound. Let's fill the wound. And here's my opinion on the whole thing. If you want to stop watching, that's totally fine. You know, if Joe Biden wins fair and square, you got to accept it. And I think most conservatives are doing a pretty good job at it. I don't see anybody crying or protesting, and I hope to God they don't. You know, I don't want to be behind that in any way. I don't, you know, not protest in the sense of like rioting is what I really mean. If you're going to protest, a protest is one thing, but when you get violent and you destroy people's property and destroy people's lives, I'll never be able to get behind that, and I hope to God no American ever gets behind that. But you know, you got half the country feeling some type of way. You got all these, you know, news outlets that are reporting, you know, that, you know, this person's won and, you know, everything else doesn't matter. But there is fraudulent claims, and you got to give due process. And I'll tell you why. One side you could say is, you know, oh, and I never really commented, even on my personal Instagram or, you know, Facebook or anything like that, when the whole, you know, the conservatives were so mad about Russia. And I was like, you know, hey, here's the truth. You know, Trump or no Trump, Biden or no Biden, you know, Biden's going to be gone in 4 years. He's too old. Trump is not going to run again in 4 years. He's gone. But we are still going to be here. We still have this democracy. We still have this country. And if we allow Russia to interfere, if we allow somebody else to cheat, what do we really have? So I was quiet during the whole process and until everything came out, and it ended up being nothing. You know, they ended up really finding no hard evidence, right? And the same thing has to be said here. Back in 2000, we gave, you know, Bush Gore 37 days, and that was for one state. We have claims for 5 states. So even if you're like, oh, it's over, what are we talking about? You know, this and that. You got to understand, if you want to bring people together, it's not just happens overnight and you put somebody else in front and it's done. No. The only way I see this country moving forward without divide, because I'll tell you what's going to happen. If you don't let the recount happen, if you don't let 2 observers go, recount happens, and then it shows that, you know, Trump got his ass kicked, then it's like, oh, well, damn, he got his ass kicked. Okay, well, then the GOP could come back and say, well, what did we do wrong? What are we not listening to the people or base? What do we need to change? That's how government, that's how it changes. These guys, they just, they're like, they believe in one thing, and when you get your butt kicked so much and the rest of the country is going that way, then you as a political party got to realize, oh my God, if I don't change, we're going to lose influence, we're going to lose whatever, and overall, this is not what the people want. We're here to represent the people. I understand that 71 million voted for Trump, but like what, 74 million voted for Biden? You know, so it's not a small swing there. I mean, 4 million people is you know, it's pretty significant. And so to me, it's like, if you get the observers in place and it shows that no, this was fair and square, then you're gonna literally destroy any argument the right has of, oh, this was a rigged election. Because if you don't, this is what you're gonna hear. On the right side of the party, you're gonna hear that this thing was rigged all the time, and you're not gonna be able to coil those concerns because you're not gonna go back and count, right? So for the rest of their lives, you're gonna have people that hate the other side that are automatically just gonna shut off. And now, I know some of you guys out there are going to say, it doesn't matter if we recount what we do. Some of those guys are going to believe that. Well, yeah, they are. They are. But the truth of the matter is, it's a huge difference when you have 71 million people that are going to believe that the system is rigged and it's not working, versus if you're going to have maybe 3 or 4 million people believe that, right? And for me, it's not just about Trump or Biden. Like I said, I don't think either one of them, if they were to get elected now, they're not going to get a whole lot things done domestically. Foreign relations is totally different. I'll try to get into that at the end of this thing. But, this for me more concerning is what's going to happen in 2022 and the special election coming up in January of 2020 for the Senate seats in Georgia, quite possibly. What's going to happen in 2024? What's going to happen in 2026? What's going to happen to the future of our country? Because remember, this is we don't want to live in a country where it's a gotcha country, right? If for some reason, if the Dems did cheat, right? You don't want the Republicans to do the same thing 2 years. You don't want this to become a race of who could cheat more, who could get into crony capitalism more, right? Or crony politicism, whatever you want to call it. That's not the country we want to live in. If we go down that road, that's the same country that a lot of people are fleeing to come here because they want to get away from that. So to me, that's the bigger issue here. That's a little bit why I am frustrated. Like I said, do I think things are going to change dramatically overnight? No. I mean, it's just, it is nice knowing that I'm not going to have to wake up to a tweet that's just off the wall, and the market's going to drop, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, what the hell's going on, right? So, but then again, we got to get through this legal process. You got to let the due process, go through. As far as Biden's administration, so if he is verified and we're good and everything is done, I feel like the left is going to keep pushing. I don't think they're going anywhere. I think that now they've gotten more emboldened, like, hey, we did all this. This is where we got. We helped you get elected. You owe us something. You owe us change. And Biden, he really is a moderate. He's been a moderate his whole career. Like, he's not really extreme one way or the other. He kind of listens majority to the people. I still give him crap about the super predators crime bill kind of thing, but hey, at the same time, if you're looking at it hindsight 2020, the guy was right. It was 100-0. Everybody wanted this bill. And it's not just the bill. I'm just saying, like, he tries to listen. He's a people pleaser, in a sense. And that's, to a certain degree, what a president should be. He should listen and whatever people are saying to do. But my fear is he's not going to be strong enough to hold off the left. That these guys are just going to go out of control because they're still rioting in Portland. And it's like, yeah, for what? What's going on? What do we, let's figure this thing out first, and then let's see what you want to bring to the table, right? And then on the right side of the media, if you don't count the damn votes again, you best believe that's going to be a talking point, a selling point, and clickbait to every single right side media outlet. And you're going to have him being attacked on that. He's already naturally going to get attacked, but now you're going to get this wave of attacks here. You're going to get the wave of attacks on the left, and this poor guy is just going to go through exactly what Trump went through, which is just kind of like, he gets elected, but is he really elected? No, because no one really wants to give him the chance to do something, and that's, in my opinion, is not fair. In my opinion is if Biden gets in, we should all hear what the hell he has to say. We shouldn't go in with the mindset, and I'm speaking to Republicans too, you shouldn't go in with the mindset like, oh, screw this guy, like he stole the election or whatever. Look, we elected him. At the end of the day, he's still an American. He's still part of our family. So you can't just discredit him just because your guy didn't win. And who knows? What if he pushes policies forward that are better for the working class, better for us, right? You don't know. So you can't just come in with this preconceived notion, because I think that's really, really detrimental. And I'm trying to limit myself too. Like I said, my biggest concern is if there is fraud, if these programs in Michigan, the software was there, if dead people are voting, hey, we need to get to the bottom of it. It could just be, maybe some local residents were, family members with their grandma dead. They're like, oh, no, hell no, we're turning in this ballot. Okay, does that mean if we find 5,000 ballots and a stack of like 1 million, that's ultimate fraud? No, that's a discrepancy. That's like, okay, maybe we need to hit those people with fines. I don't think they should, I don't know. I don't know about the jail thing. I'm not going to get into all that. Like, I don't know what, like, I would hate to make an example out of somebody because I can see that emotions were running high. So I'm trying to see that side of it too, right? There's a letter of the law and there's a spirit of the law. The letter of the law, you just throw the book at them, and I don't think that ever works. There needs to be a spirit of the law in that case. But if there is major discrepancies, that's when it should be like, okay, whoa, what the hell is going on here, right? Like major software glitches, if there are these algorithms, all these things that people are bringing forth, they got signed affidavits saying that, we're seeing fraud. So we need to just squash that. And we can get this done well before January. We can get this done well before Christmas time. We can. But we need to take the time to do it the right way. Otherwise, it's just going to cause more of a divide. Now, other than that, I mean, and the left, that's going to be a very difficult thing to deal with, because if you guys haven't noticed, majority of the House seats have flipped to Republican. So maybe, somebody who was Republican was repulsed, like the woman vote, the suburban women vote was repulsed by Trump, which I can't really blame them. He would really piss me off during the first debate when he was just talking over people. But they said, we don't want Trump. It's not that we want Biden, but we don't want Trump. But we also don't want these leftist policies. So in their districts, they voted in Republican representatives. And now the left is starting to realize that, and they're like, okay, wow, maybe we can't go this far extreme. They're going to have their own battle on their hands with their own people. I'm not even going to get into the AOC whole make a list thing kind of thing. I mean, that's a topic for another discussion. Let's just see how this plays out. And that's another thing I want to see how Biden starts to address that, what kind of rift he's going to have in his own party. And, from there, I'm really just focused on the foreign relations things. I mean, the stock market was going to be fine no matter what president went in, because it was going to be a gridlock. They're not going to be able to pass tax. They're not going to be able to pass anything major, at least for the next 2 years. Now, if there's another wave, let's say if the Democrats take control of the Senate, and they get that passed, then and they still control the House and the presidency, well, okay, then let's see. Then you're going to see a little bit of turbulence. But as of right now, the stock market, I'm not really too worried. If anything, I think tech is going to go up. It's going to bolster the S&P overall, because of, I don't think the Dems would be in their best political interest to attack them right now, right? So there's that. But my foreign aid is, it was kind of weird because Israel came out and congratulated, and that's kind of weird. Like, the media doesn't elect anybody, we do. But let's move forward. Let's hypothetically, if he does win, if he is in, it's verified. They already said we're looking forward to working with you. Now, if Biden decides to go back into the Iran deal, which he's already claimed that he did, he thinks in his head that was the right thing, then Israel got to do what they got to do to protect themselves. They're going to pull out of that peace deal. And guys, there has been peace in the Middle East. Say what you want about the evil orange man, but we have been out of wars for the last 4 years. We have avoided conflict. I will beat the drum on this. I think if Clinton was in, we would have had boots on the ground in Syria. We would have been in places we don't need to be in. So that's one major thing I'm looking for. The next major thing I'm looking for is, where is the stance on China, and where are we going to go with the trade deal? How much pressure are we going to put? Because quickly, conspiracy theory time, if you start connecting the dots, everything kind of just adds up. Wuhan is the only place that gets hit. Nowhere else in China. The rest of the world gets hit. This virus is not too crazy, but crazy enough to have mail-in ballots go. There's already some crazy affiliations from internal government sources to China. If they get Biden in, China lifts the bans, China benefits the most from a Biden win. But I could be totally wrong. Joe Biden and his administration could realize, hey, concentration camps aren't cool. Hey, you taking control and buying influence all over the world also isn't cool, even though we did do that too. But what kind of pressure are we going to put on them? What kind of future are we going to have? Because America will be fine short term, but long term, if we lose that reserve currency status of the world, we're not going to be able to get away with the crap we're getting away with, which means the next time we have a recession, the next time we have a pullback in the economy, we can't just print, because our money is going to be worthless. We're going to have to go through the Chinese currency. We're going to have to go through another currency, because at a certain point in time, your dollar is not just backed by, faith and whatever. It's also backed to the fact that you have a badass military. It's backed to the fact that you have badass GDP and production and growth and innovation. And as those things start slipping, your influence starts slipping. And as your influence starts slipping, you get decrowned. You get decrowned, someone else comes in. So there's a lot of things at play. And honestly, we're still going to live our lives, and we're going to pay attention, and we have to take it, one news cycle at a time. And that's just my opinion on it. Like I said, you can't take this stuff too emotionally, guys. If you're too vested in one person, there's probably a problem in your life. You probably need to reassess that and reassess your goals. You should be focusing on growing yourself, helping your family and your friends grow. The president matters, but you can't let it eat you up in any way. You know what I mean? You got to kind of move forward and do your job, vote, and pay attention to the news and form your own opinion and try to get both sides. Don't just go one way, try to get both sides. So, hey, these are my 2 thoughts. And if I'm, whatever you guys want to say, you can. If you like this video, share it, help me grow the page, and have a good rest of the week. Let's see what happens. It's going to be interesting.